I would like now to give the floor to our next speaker, Wang Wen, our guest from China. China has been the main beneficiary of globalization, without any doubt. Back in 2016, when President Trump, during his first term as the president of the US, when he entered the White House for the first time, I remember President Xi speaking, and he said that China is now prepared to be the main driver of the world and the main protector of globalization. While the US used to be a global driver in the past, but then things changed. I remember that very vividly. But since then, a lot has changed. The American-Chinese trade war happened. Then export control measures. China was slapped with from the US. There were sanctions against Chinese technological companies introduced by the US, and now we see high tariffs introduced against China. Is there any point? Can we say that we can get globalization back and China will be once again the main beneficiary of this globalization effort? Or is China now compelled to change, to adjust its response strategies to the changes that are unfolding in the world? Talk about Chinese stance, please. Over to you.
Thank you, moderator. So actually, in the past 1 hour, I really learned a lot from my 3 colleagues. I have some echoes and some very brief response to my 3 colleagues. I totally agree with Professor Lichhava. You mentioned a lot examples and experience of sanction. Actually, in the past 3 years in China, there are a lot of scholars. We learn from Russia's anti-sanction policy. I think Russia's anti-sanction policy was very successful. And as Mr. Moderator, you said that in the past 8 years, because of the trade war between China and the US, in China there are more than 3,000 companies we faced sanctions from the United States. And in the past 7 years, we have the very serious trade war with the United States, and we pushed a lot of countermeasure to the US. And I think luckily, since last month, we have the summit between President Xi Jinping and President Trump in Korea, in South Korea. And now the China and the US bilateral relationship turned to comparatively stable. I think this is a good news. And the other thing is that even that, I think that in Eurasia economic cooperation, I think the speed is accelerating. As my 3 colleagues right now said that nowadays we have very good cooperation, multilateral cooperation in Eurasia. For example, this September in Tianjin, we host a very successful Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, and we push the establishment of SCO Bank. And also nowadays, the bilateral trade between China and Russia, more than 95%, the bilateral trade payment are totally de-dollarization. I think this is one kind of the preparation policy against the sanction from the United States. And also since last week, Russia launched a free visa policy to China. And this is very good news. And I guess that next year, there are more than 5 million tourists of China will go to Russia. They will improve the consumption in Russia. That's also a very good news. But even that, I think that, as we mentioned, the multilateral economic cooperation will push the security architecture in Eurasia. And the evolution of Eurasia security architecture profoundly affects the global power structure. So nowadays, I think we face the new opportunity because currently the Gaza crisis and the Ukraine crisis are in the process of being resolved. And with the increasing influence of countries such as Russia, China, India, Central Asia, Iran, other security conflicts in Eurasia face a possibility of gradual resolution. So I feel very optimistic about the future of Eurasia economic integration. Even we still face a little bit of challenge. I think that the challenge there are, on the one hand, the negative interfering and the offshore balancing from external forces required high vigilance because there are huge negative interference and offshore balancing from the other country, from US, from Japan. So I think nowadays if we think about and consider talk about the future of Eurasia security landscape, I think we have to talking about the influence of multiple factors, especially the four core dimensions, not only in economic dimension, but also especially in the security and the military dimensions. I have to share you very briefly. First, traditional security dilemma, as we all mentioned, in the past 3+ years, the Ukraine crisis, as we all know, as a turning point in the reshaping of the Eurasia geopolitical landscape after the Cold War, and reviews the multi-dimension shift in Russia's security perspective and its systematic construction logic. But I think since Trump's second term, the Russia security proposition has gradually gained understanding within the United States. Even there still exist some differences between US and Russia. Secondly, that as we all mentioned, a lot of initiative. We have to admit that there is competition in regional order reconstructions. For example, there are so many multiple competing regional economic integration proposals existing within Eurasia. For example, Russia lead the Eurasia Economic Union and China's Belt Road Initiative and India's International North-South Transport Corridor. I think, of course, they are inclusive, they are complementary, but the problem is that they exhibit subtle competition, and also these initiatives all centered on Central Asia. So that's why I think nowadays Central Asia, as a heartland of Eurasia, has become a focal point of a great power rivalry due to its unique geopolitical location and the economic development, as we all know. The third challenge is that the security trends are diversified, because we all know that the security challenges in Eurasia have transcended traditional military domain, expanding into non-traditional security area, such as we all mentioned right now, the economic, finance, energy, cyberspace, and environment. Especially the three forces of terrorism, separatism, and extremism continue to pose a serious threat. While the region also faces new risks, such as the color revolution, unilateral sanction, and weaponization of economy. So I think this we have to notice. And new elements is from the climate change and AI are also affecting the stability process in Eurasia, especially the Eurasia integration. And fourth, the last point is the new element from the external forces. The external forces that I mentioned continue to intervene the integration, economic integration of Eurasia, especially from US and Japan. Because we all know that more than 90% of U.S. troops stationed overseas are located within or around the Eurasia. And the weakening of the U.S. alliance system is impacting the security situation in Eurasia. And especially for Japan, I mean, since the autumn of the 2025, the extreme right-wing shift of Sani Takasi administration in Japan has been affecting the security and the stability of Western Pacific coast. And the simultaneous deterioration of tension between Japan and Russia, Japan and China, Japan and South Korea reflects a major reflection in Japan's security policy and the negative impact of external forces. So I think my conclusion is that in response, Eurasia countries should jointly strengthen our strategic autonomy, building a diversified regional cooperation network through models such as aligning the Belt and Road Initiative within the Eurasia Economic Region, reducing dependence on a single external market, as we all mentioned. I totally agree. And simultaneously, it is necessary to cultivate endogenous growth driver and enhance the resilience and the sustainability of regional economic development. About the West, I think I totally agree that nowadays Russia reserves space for dialogue with the West. I think Russia's openness can effectively offset the divisive effect of offshore balance. So for China's side, our efforts is that, as we all know, that now next year we will enter the new 5-year plan, and China will push the new opening up policy, and we try our best to strengthen the bilateral relationship with Iran, of course, Russia, and Central Asia. We have the China Central Asia Summit, and next year I think that the bilateral relationship between Russia and China will become much better because President Putin will visit China again, and we have to push the innovation of regional cooperation model. And I think, on the other hand, China's very special policy is that we didn't reject the dialogue with the West, including United States, and I think we can have pushed establishment of Eurasia Wild Security Dialogue Forum with the West. We can invite extra regional countries such as United States into the discussion process. But United States' role should not be the leader. It only should be the participants. In sum, I think in future, the construction of the new Eurasia security architecture based on our new economic cooperation could not be undertaken independently by a single country or mechanism. It requires all countries to transcend the short-term geopolitical calculation, jointly cultivate the regional collective identity, and ultimately form Eurasia security community, characterized by the harmony in diversity, common security, and common development. And this process not only concerns the fate of the Eurasia continent, but will also have a profound impact on the evolution of the global power structure. This is my initial opinion. Thank you again for the invitation.